Thank you for joining. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, title Status Quo, Chapter 4, title Vidura Approaches Maitreya, verse number 17. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayat Nasta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Hari Om Tat Sat. Thank you for joining. Thank you for sharing the screen. So 3:4:17. Mantreshu mam va upahooya yatvam akuntita akanda sadatma bodha pruche prabho mugda iva apramatta tanno mano mohayiti vadeva. Mantreshu mam va upahooya yatvam akuntita akanda sadatma bodha pruche prabho mugda iva pramatta tanno mano mohayati vadeva. Mantreshu mam va upahooya yatvam akuntita akanda sadatma bodha pruche prabho mugda iva apramatta tanno mano mohayati vadeva. Word-to-word transliteration. Mantreshu, in consultations, mam unto me, why as either, upahuya, by calling, yet as much as, tvam, your lordship, akuntita, without hesitation, akhanda, without being separated, sada, eternally, atma, self, bodha, intelligent, pruche, asked, prabho, O my lord, mugda, bewildered, iva, as if it were so, apramatta, although never bewildered, tat, that, na, our, mana, mine, mohayati, bewilders, iva, as it is so, deva, O my lord. Translation by Jivangi Sesi Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. O my lord, your eternal self is never divided by the influence of time, and there is no limitation to your perfect knowledge. Thus, you are sufficiently able to consult with yourself, yet you called upon me for consultation, as if bewildered, although you are never bewildered. And this act of yours bewilders me. Repeat, O my Lord, your eternal self is never divided by the influence of time, and there is no limitation to your perfect knowledge. Thus, you are sufficiently able to consult with yourself, yet you called upon me for consultation, as if bewildered, although you are never bewildered, and this act of yours bewilders me. Purport. Uddhava was never actually bewildered, but he says that all these contradictions appear to be bewildering. The whole discussion between Krishna and Uddhava was meant for the benefit of Maitreya, who was sitting nearby. The Lord used to call Uddhava for consultation when the city was attacked by Jarasandha and others, and when he executed great sacrifices as part of his routine royal work as Lord of Dwaraka. The Lord has no past, present, and future because he is unhampered by the influence of eternal time, and thus nothing is hidden from him. He is eternally self intelligent. Therefore, his calling for Uddhava to give him enlightenment is certainly astonishing. All these actions of the Lord appear to be contradictory. Although there is no contradiction in the routine activities of the Lord, therefore it is better to see them as they are and not attempt to explain them. This is a loaded verse, so we'll try to see how much we can cover. Om Ajnana Timrandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Ina Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langaite Grim Yatkrupa Tamham Vande Sri Gurum Devatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanyeswaram Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Krupa Sindhu Bhayevacha Paddanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Mena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantima Shri Rupa Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. So, in this verse 3, 4, 17, first important word is used here, mantreshu, in consultation. So, from consultation, we can understand Shastra is clearly giving the direction. For devotees, for those who are in the material world, for human beings, one must consult Sadhu, Shastra and Guru. Yas Shastra vidham usrijya vartate kamakarata. So before we take any decisions, before we execute our devotion service, generally for at least the may not be day-to-day activities, but for any major undertakings, any decisions we make in the temple, any decisions we make as an organization, so one must consult Sadhu, Shastra and Guru, one must consult as in Srimad Bhagavatam we see, when we read also, not other than reading self by our own self, we should hear and we should discuss. In Srimad Bhagavatam verse it says, Supatam Vicharana Paro. So other than reading, we should discuss among the in association of devotees. And Prabhupada explained this about this consultation mantresu. Even in the beginning of this Canto 3, first chapter also we see the same. The best consultation, Vidura-niti, is very famous and very popular. Vidura used to give instructions to Dhritarashtra used to consult Vidura Maharaj, and Vidura used to give him the guidance. Obviously he didn't follow though, but later on he realized after the Kurukshetra war, when Vidura came back and chastised him heavily, then he could realize, and then that's when he really took to the instructions a little bit. But anyway, so here the important instruction from Srila Prabhupada is giving a couple of examples. We see Srila Prabhupada instructed in one case, in Juhu's case, in Mayapur development, Mayapur temple construction. So he was talking to Surabir Abhipalayantam Swami Maharaj. So initially he was Saurabh Prabhu, was the architect of all the temples, Vrindavan and Juhu and Mayapur. So one time he wrote, he went with 3 other devotees, and then he went to the press and he told them, means we will be constructing a temple, and then he gave some details of this big project. Then, but he didn't discuss with anybody, with other devotees. He just took his associate or whoever he is working with, his assistants. And then the way they presented in the newspaper was this, it will be like a Vedic planetarium, this whole city with 50,000 people, and a huge temple will be built, big city, and it will be like Auroville, like Aurobindo also tried to build a temple like this, I think in somewhere in India, I forget the place. And it is like it's almost like criticizing, or it's like a farce. It's not going to happen. That didn't happen, and your thoughts or whatever you are telling, you are going to build this huge temple. That also not going to happen. In that way, they wrote, and Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj presented this newspaper article, and then Prabhupada heavily chastised Surabhira Valayantam Prabhu, and then this cannot happen. Without consultation, you should never. Did you discuss with anybody, any other devotees? You didn't discuss with me either. And in this article, nowhere it mentions Pondra Acharya, Sri Prabhupada, nowhere it mentions any other devotees. It's just your name. Is this actually Swami means you are supposed to be servant of the Supreme Lord, servant of the you are controlling the senses, and you didn't even use your spiritual master's name and just your name. So this cannot be done. This is not at all good for you, for the society. So immediately I would ask you all to form a joint committee, and no more of taking decisions as a single-handedly. You must all consult and decide the plan of actions going forward. So Srila Prabhupada made a strong statement in this discussion with Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj and other devotees. So we can take very important instructions whenever we take big undertakings in our own life, in our temple, in our organizations. So it is an important step to consult always Sadhu, Shastra and Guru. If spiritual master is not available, busy, or you can consult with senior devotees and other sannyasis, so that we do the right action, we take right decisions, even though we may know that, we may think that we are doing right, but it's good to consult with others who are experienced in this matter. So that is the first instruction here, mantreshu. So one must consult. And then also, we also see here that the Prabhupada is also making another point, how here Uddhava is being bewildered, showing, even though devotee, especially Uddhava is a pure devotee of the Lord, he can never be bewildered, but it seems he is expressing as bewildered, like Kunti Maharani is saying also in 1.8 I think 39 or verse. Gopi adade krutaga siddhama tavad yate dasasru kalilanjana sampramaksham vaktram niniya bhava bhavana astitasya. So how Krishna was crying, rubbing his eyes when mother Yashoda Mai was trying to bind him and taking a stick and then running after Krishna to bind him. So then Krishna was, even though he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he's put his head down and crying and rubbing his eyes. He is bewildered, he is fearful. Even though Yamaraj is fearful of Supreme Lord, but Kunti Maharani is saying, this is very much bewildering to me. So same way here we see that very much bewildered, even though it seems to be that Krishna is covered by Maya. Seems to be in some of the cases, but it's not so. Where Giriraj Maharaj once asked Prabhupada, how is that Supreme Personality of Godhead can be covered by Maya? Then Prabhupada gave an example, like sun, from sun cloud comes. Cloud is coming because of sun. But sometimes the cloud covers some portion. So that is just, it's not actually covering the actual sun. Only some portion that is covered. So the living entity, that portion of area is covered. So it is like that. But at the same time, the cloud is also, then the rain, so that it enhances the beauty, it enhances the rasa, the mellow. So to enhance that, so Lord Krishna is being covered by Yoga Maya, not Mahamaya. He can never be covered. Sun can never be covered with cloud. But the people, that place, that location may be covered. Like cloud always also comes with lightning and thunder, and then the rain comes sometimes. So same way is the mercy of the Lord by the performing this past and wonderful pastime. Seemingly he is being controlled. Seemingly he is bewildered. Is covered, but it's not so. Just to show his mercy, to enhance this rasa, Lord Krishna is exhibiting these wonderful pastimes. And Prabhupada also gives, Giriraj Maharaj gives in his memories of Sri Prabhupada, it is an intense desire. Lord wants a desire to serve and desire to what do you call it? The devotees, great devotees, glorify the great devotees. We see in Prabhupada's purport, wonderful instructions are there. We'll go into that in a minute. Lord Krishna, how he performed, what instructions he is giving in his day-to-day activities about this King Jarasandha, killing of Jarasandha, and then the sacrifice mentioned in this purport. Very important instructions are there. But here, so the point Giriraj Maharaj is making, Lord Krishna is desiring, just like Lord Krishna wants to glorify devotees and desiring to engage devotees in the service. He wants to be controlled by them. So he's giving the example. Srila Prabhupada is intensely desiring, and Prabhupada told him later on, initially when I met you, I simply desired, prayed to Krishna that please make him aware of, you make him aware of the Krishna consciousness and make him a wonderful devotee. Prabhupada is mentioned to Giriraj Maharaj later on. And Giriraj Maharaj also gives another example. I could see how Sri Prabhupada is intensely desiring the different devotees he met and praying to Krishna to make them pure devotees, make them wonderful devotees and engage in his service. And one example he gave, Giriraj Maharaj gave, in the Boston, beginning of the days, Boston, one devotee used to be there, Peter. He used to come and sit in the middle of the temple hall, and he used to sleep. He just to sit there, not do any service or anything. So then everybody, because it's in the middle of the hall, it is in the beginning days, and because we have to make sure everybody is following certain basic things. Otherwise, when new people come, they may get bewildered by seeing this. But they couldn't do anything. Then they wrote to Prabhupada, this is happening, then what to do? Satsvarup Goswami Maharaj wrote to Prabhupada. Prabhupada wrote, can't you tolerate? That's what Prabhupada wrote back. Then they somehow tolerate, even though they couldn't, but somehow because Prabhupada instructed. Then later on, this Peter, he left Boston and he went to New Vrindavan, and then he got initiated. And later on, after 20 years or so, in 1990, Giriraj Maharaj met in LA. So one time during Mangal Arati, one devotee was chanting and dancing, and so then he saw this devotee again, this Peter. They used to call him Crazy Peter. Then they asked, who is this devotee? I know him before. Then they told him he is Kushakrata Prabhu. Then he could understand how by Prabhupada's intense desire to engage in service, he became a great devotee. He is translating the great Acharya's books, so many books Kushakrata Prabhu translated. So you can see this is the instruction we are getting by like Lord is desiring, even though he knows everything here. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also comments later on for this Rajasuja sacrifice also. We'll come to that. So we can understand from this verse how we should also desire to serve the spiritual master, serve the Prabhupada's mission, serve the authority within our means and capacities. And we should also desire that it is another, I think this verse, we should title it as, we should act in such a way that it pleases Krishna, it pleases Guru and then Prabhupada and Krishna. We should act in such a way. It's a very important point to understand this. That means we should also pray. That means if some devotee acts in as per Sadhu and Shastra and Guru, obviously we'll feel, oh, wonderful devotee is doing wonderful service, wonderful etiquette. Then obviously that minute somebody is thinking of the devotee, then automatically the mercy is flowing through the Lord, through the parampara, automatically by that exemplary behavior. So it is not how much we know of the Shastra, but how we put that into practice and day-to-day basis and in our dealings, so that's why the 6 kinds of exchanges Prabhupada has inaugurated with how do we take on this movement then in India especially, then Prabhupada told Giriraj Maharaj, we will do with a life membership program. And then he told life members first, after the first pandal program in Jufu, that we will six kinds of exchanges. We'll give the books, you give us some donation, whatever you can. Then we'll give you all the books, and then you can read the books, and then you will reveal the mind. You can invite us, we'll give you prasadam, so in this way, 6 kinds of exchanges. Rupa Goswami is talking in Nectar of Instruction as Dadati Prati Gunnati, confidentially discuss with us, and we reveal also to you. So in this way, Prabhupada is fully implementing the instructions of previous acharyas in his in his activities in expanding this mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we should desire sincerely, we should also pray for others, not simply thinking about how I can progress. So preaching, trying to distribute, trying to pray for others' welfare, others' advancement, like Sri Prabhupada. So this is how we have seen, and then I see myself from, especially my spiritual master, constantly, every day, no matter what, is always desiring, is always praying for all his disciples, even the aspiring, those, is always praying to the Lord, even when he is in this condition also, even when he got COVID, when he was not well also. So he never stopped, because that is the mood Srila Prabhupada has given down. That is the mood Acharyas are always giving. So by carrying that mood, then automatically, then Krishna will be pleased with us, with our intentions, with our behaviors. Because we're always thinking how we can work together, and then praying for others' welfare, thinking of paradukka dukki. So this is the very important quality. We can see how Krishna is exemplifying in his dealings with Uddhava, in his dealings with Pandavas, in this case also. Now going back to this pastime where it is explained here, in Lord Krishna, where as he is referring here in the purport, Prabhupada is referring to Jarasanda's killing, and because Jarasandha imprisoned 20,000 kings, and then one time before that, I think let's go to Lord Krishna in day-to-day activities, because he used to get up in the morning 3 hours before the sunrise. The chapter number 70, I think I would encourage everybody to read chapter number 70, 71, 72 from Krishna book first. Go back to Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto, same chapters 70, 71, 72 in 10th canto. So wonderful details are there, instructions are there, where it is mentioned Lord Krishna used to wake up 3 hours before sunrise, and then he used to get up from the bed, even though all the queens of the Lord is there, but still to get up. And then Prabhupada is giving instruction, any ideal householder must get up, try to get up early in the morning every day, and then he used to get up, wash his mouth, wash his feet, wash his hands, and immediately used to meditate Lord Krishna. So Prabhupada is instructing, so we should also chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Some acharyas tell us, not just simply get up and then take bath, and then the time is wasted as much as possible. If you are going to Mangalarati to the temple, yes, obviously we need to do that. But if you are at home, if you are not doing Mangalarati program at home, then we should immediately wash our mouth and hands and legs, and immediately start chanting. Like Krishna is meditating because he is Atmaram, he is meditating on his own form. But for us, we are supposed to chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Then he used to engage. Also, it is mentioned, Prabhupada is mentioned Swajatiya and Vijatiya. So we are differentiated part and parcel. So for us, we cannot meditate like others meditate, try to meditate, perform this Jnana Marga or Ashtanga Yoga. But we should, for us, we are Vijatiya, we should meditate, we should chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. That is our instruction. And so by following in the Putsha, we cannot imitate, rather we have to follow in the instructions. Then Lord Krishna used to offer specific prayers to sun god. So we can also pray to sun god when we see in the way that like Brahma Samhita is referring. Echakchure savida sakla grahana bhaja sarumurti rashesh echagnaya samprati kala chakra govindam adi purushottamam bhaja. So in that way we can offer praise in thinking that the supreme That is the reality. He is the Surya Narayan. His energy is coming. The toenails, the whole Brahman effulgence, you name it, the sun god, all the effulgence, everything is coming from the toenails of the Supreme Lord. So in that way we should think when we are offering. So you are the representative of the Supreme Lord, Lord Narayan. Please, I offer my obeisances to you. So in that way we remember, immediately we see sun, Krishna, we see moon, we remember. In that way we offer the prayers from Brahma Samhita, not some other prayers. So that is the following the acharyas. So Krishna is also doing that, offering prayers to the demigods, offering especially prayers to the sun god. And then he used to take bath after his meditation, and then engage in oblations into fire sacrifice, and then also chant silently Gayatri mantra. And then he used to also respect obeisances to elders and superiors, and he used to offer tarpana to his forefathers, and then he used to give charity to every day to cows and brahmanas, as well to brahmanas, 13,000 plus cows every day he used to do the charity. And then he used to distribute the flowers, garlands, sandalwood pulp to the brahmanas, to elderly members first, and then queens, and then anything remains, then he used to take. So we can see that also. So the house of Prabhupada put all these things for us by establishing the ISKCON, given this formula how to distribute this Maha garland and taking this sandalwood pulp which is offered to Supreme Lord, and then distributing it to others. So, and then how to perform, we should perform charity. It doesn't matter whether brahmacharya or grihastha, vanaprastha, sannyas, especially those who are in grihastha, we must perform charity as much as possible within our capacity and means and situation. And then he mounted then he used to call Daruka and then mount a chariot, go to along with Uddhava and Satyaki, go to the king his Dwaraka's palace, where the assembly is called Sudharma assembly, special assembly, where that also came down. And in the early morning also it is mentioned Parijata flowers he brought down from heavenly planets, where it is mentioned that smell, aroma itself, the bees used to come and humming bees, and then birds used to chirp. That sound is like a kirtan. The melodious sound used to come when Krishna used to wake up. So automatically all these things were happening. So then when this Sudharma assembly also brought down from the heavenly planets, whoever enters into that Sudharma assembly during that time, the six things will not happen. No lamentation, no birth, no death, no hunger, no thirst, soka, bhaya. All these six things will not happen for those who are entering or who will stay within that assembly during that time. So then as Krishna walked into the assembly, then immediately one messenger came, delivered the message saying these 20,000 kings imprisoned, and then that we have been imprisoned, please deliver us from this. You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Shastra is mentioning when you are there, no miseries. One who is surrendered to you, there will be no miseries. Please deliver us from this imprisonment. We also know that from Shastra we are being imprisoned by our own activities, but we are surrendering to you. So please deliver us from this miserable condition, from Jarasandha. So 20,000 kings. Then immediately after receiving that message, Lord Krishna, as that message came, at the same time Narada Muni walked in at that time. So another instruction we also see. And then immediately Lord Krishna got up from his place, then put Narada Muni there. And then he offered his respectful obeisances. He worshipped Narada Muni with all kinds of paraphernalia. So this is the way. Sometimes also Sri Prabhupada used to consult with his disciples. So what do you think about this plan? So will it work? Or sometimes even Prabhupada knows. Same way Supreme Lord knows everything, but he doesn't need to consult anybody. But still he is showing by his own example. We shouldn't take decisions, especially the major decisions, by our own self. We should try to consult others. Even our spiritual masters also, current disciples, Prabhupada also certain times do that. to the Guru may ask us also, disciples, sometimes, what do you think of this plan? That doesn't mean that we should think that, oh, Guru is asking me, so we shouldn't be proud of that. So we should be cognizant of that facts. So then the Lord Krishna is receiving then Narada Muni and worshipped him properly, how to worship a Guru, how to worship elder superiors, especially sadhus. So he's showing by his own example. And then he asked Narada Muni, how are the Pandavas doing? What do they like to do now? So Krishna already know. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying. So Yudhishthir Maharaj, they never wanted to opulence. They never want to perform this sacrifice. We have no urgency to perform. Our only thought is to show to the whole world. There are many, our hearts are piercing with these arrows because people are thinking that you are not Supreme Personality Godhead. And so they don't have a proper understanding of what is your position. So it is piercing our heart. So we want to remove that arrow from our heart by showing that whole world that you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You are doing the creation, maintenance, destruction, but seemingly you are giving that position to Brahma and Shiva, but rather indirectly you are the one, through your time factor, influence of time, everything is happening. And we see that from Anantadev, when the fire and everything is coming from that energy only, Lord Shiva is doing, and creation also we know. So everything is happening, but he has given the in charge for these creation and destruction to Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva. So we can see. And so as then Narada Muni walked in, and then when Krishna asked about this situation of the Pandavas, what they want to do, then Narada Muni told they want to perform Rajasuya sacrifice. So that's what Yudhishthira Maharaj wants to do. Then immediately, then he asked Uddhava what we should do. So you are my best friend. You give best advice. So I depend on you. Please give what we should do here. Then immediately. But at the same time, as Narada Muni was mentioning that Rajasuya sacrifice will be performed, that's what Yudhishthira Maharaj want. Then all those who are assembled in that assembly, they are thinking, no, this cannot be done. First we should do killing of these Jarasandha, so that these 20,000 kings will be delivered from that imprisonment. That's what we are supposed to do. We shouldn't go for the sacrifice first. Then Lord Krishna, understanding that their thoughts, then immediately asked Uddhava, so now you tell me, give me the consultation here, what should be done? Then immediately understanding Uddhava, Uddhava understanding Lord Krishna's desire, and then also we should know that this Lord Krishna doesn't have any duty to perform. Na karmani limpan na karma phale spura. Yo vijanati karma virna sabadhyate. So he doesn't have any, but he is setting an example how to execute as a human being what's supposed to be done. We should perform our duties as per Sadhu and Shastra Guru. So he is one who understands that Lord's position, then he will not, none of the activities will be binding. One who understands not only the knowledge but also puts it into practice, then that will happen. So that he will be able to get purified. So Lord Krishna asked Uddhava, so what's supposed to be done? Then Uddhava immediately instructed, gave his consultation advice that yes, you must go to the Rajasuya sacrifice, but automatically, minute you are saying Rajasuya sacrifice to be performed, obviously you have to also conquer in all directions. That's the prerequisite before doing Rajasuya sacrifice. So then before that means you should kill King Jarasandha. So best way to kill him is because you already fought with him 18 times. Even kings told, you conquered 17 times, 18 times seemingly like you acted like a human being. You ran away from the fight. You acted like a human being. Just bewilder us in the message by this 20,000 imprisoned king. They also mentioned. So Uddhava is mentioning. So best way to do is instead of not to trouble others, those who are around with this big fight because he has so many akshoni. So best thing to do is just have go as in the garb of brahmanas. You should go with Arjuna and Bhimasena and then beg charity from him and then fight. Let Bhimasena fight with him. Bhima is same powerful as Jarasandha is 10,000 elephants strength he has. Same way Bhimasena is also capable of that. So let them fight and then and also you be there because as soon as when you are there, when your presence, anything can happen. Anybody can do anything by your influence and power. So when Bhimasena is fighting with Jarasandha, you be there. So by your mercy, you can perform this extraordinary task of killing Jarasandha. So in that way, Uddhava instructed Krishna, advised. So in this verse of 3.4.17, we see, so mantreshu in consultations, as we understood how we should consult with sadhu and shastra and guru. And we also see that in the purport, Lord Krishna performing sacrifice, Rajasuya sacrifices, Yudhishthira Maharaj invited Narmuni delivered that message, what they want, when Krishna asked what Pandavas want to do, then Narmuni mentioned about Yudhishthira Maharaj's desire to perform Rajasuya sacrifice, to glorify the Supreme Lord, to let the whole world know that he is the Supreme Personality of God, he is not an ordinary person. And also Shastra is instructed, and Lord Krishna used to perform these oblations in the morning after taking bath, after his meditation and everything. Where it mentions, Shastra is mentioning, and also before that there is here in this one word is used, Sada Bodha. What is used? Sadatma Bodha, self-intelligent. Krishna is self-intelligent, he doesn't need to consult. And the characteristics of the intelligence we see from Srimad Bhagavatam, Kapil Dev is instructing his mother. Misapprehension, doubt, apprehension, and memory and sleep. These are the characteristics of the intelligence. So where it is mentioned, Shastra is mentioning, one should not doubt Shastra and Sadhu and Guru's instructions. One should have doubts. Doubts must be cleared up by the Sadhu, Shastra and Guru, where it is mentioned, Samsaya Atma Vinasyati. Again and again in throughout Bhagavad Gita we see that in 4th chapter Bhagavad Gita, verse number 40, clearly mentioning that Agnascha Sraddhadhanascha Samsaya Atma Vinasyati Nayam Loko Nasti Paro Na Sukham Samsaya Atma. One must not doubt, because when we have doubt, then we will not be able to ignorance, having no faith. So that's a, so we have to, this verse is also, the title can be Samsaya Atma to Nischaya Atma. Having doubt, not having a proper intelligence, intelligence is not sharpened. Should transfer our attachment and sharpen our intelligence by sadhu and shastra and guru, and increase our faith, strengthen our faith by the sadhu and shastra and guru. So come to the nischayatmika. Otherwise the intelligence character is doubting, and then as soon as some object comes into its view, then intelligence is doubting. Then if they have sadhu and shastra and guru's instruction, then it can transfer from the misapprehension to apprehension, correct apprehension, nischayatmika. So that's what, and the 42 verse of chapter 4 also it is mentioning the same thing. One must cut this ignorance into pieces. Tasmat ajnana sambhutam hrutstam jnanasina atmana chitvainam atishtosht bharata. So Krishna is instructing Arjuna, oh Arjuna, get up and fight, remove this, slash this ignorance with transcendental knowledge. So where it is mentioned also, the sacrifices means two kinds of sacrifices. Some sacrificing the material possessions, But more important than that, Prabhupada is mentioning in the commentary in the purport, verse number 40 from chapter 4, that the knowledge of the self, especially self-realization under Guru and Gurus and Sadhus guidance, especially how it should be done with the service and surrender, with the service attitude and surrender. This is the way actual the sacrifice means. We are ready to serve with submissive attitude and then surrender fully. So then we will come from this doubtful or not having a proper faith, samsaya atma to, we will come samsaya atma to nishchayatmaka buddhi. And Shastra is also instructing from Gaurang Mahaprabhu's Gaur Leela also we see that Sarup Damodar Goswami was instructing these Brahmanas, or sometimes devotees used to write their own poems and poetry and we want to present to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But they don't have the proper knowledge. Without understanding the bhakti, without understanding principles of Shastra, they just simply want to write whatever they like. So then it is mentioned, then he used to instruct them, Bhagavata Paragiye Bhagavata Sthane. If one wants to understand or write anything about Lord Krishna, Lord Vishnu, about the Lord, then he must study the scriptures, he must study under the guidance, under the direction of the Sadhu and Shastra and Guru and advanced devotees. Bhagavata Gya Bhagavata Sthane, Paragiya Bhagavata Sthane. So that is also important instruction. Otherwise, many times we want to read by our own and then we come up with our own speculations. So that is also very important instruction. So we also see also in Pandava's case where it is mentioned, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is explaining King Yudhishthira, he doesn't have any urgency to perform Rajasuya, nor does he have any personal interest, because we are already seeing your lotus feet by your boundless mercy taken into your personal association. But in this world there are some whose hearts are contaminated and thus think that you are the supreme. You are not the supreme person, you are ordinary man, or else they find fault with you, even criticize you. So this is the arrow, this is what is piercing their hearts, Pandava's hearts. So that's why, and Pandavas, when Lord Krishna went with his entourage, with his family, especially he left Balram, he just went alone. Lord Krishna went alone with all his queens to Hastinapur to perform this Rajasuya sacrifice. Then Pandavas worshipped, especially Yudhishthira Maharaj came forward, worshipped Lord Krishna, all even the citizens who were there, everybody offered various paraphernalia, everybody came out, left their own activities and came out to greet Lord and offer various articles to the Lord. So this is the instruction for us also. When we go to temple, we should take something, fruit or flower or something, as much as possible. When we go to the guest house or friend's house also, we should take something. This is the way to exchange always. So Lord Krishna and the Pandavas, especially Yudhishthira Maharaj, hugged Lord Krishna because he is elder than him, so that he didn't offer obeisances. So Bhima also hugged him again and again. He was, tears are coming because after a long time, Yudhishthira Maharaj, so much affection and so much affection for the Lord. They are some pure devotees of the Lord. So, and then they worshipped, Yudhishthira Maharaj worshipped the Lord with various paraphernalia. Because of his intense affection for the Lord, he forgot what's supposed to be done. Then that time Kunti Maharani was also there. Kunti Maharani also offered her obeisances. Then she told Draupadi and Subhadra Maharani to offer them cloth and various flowers and various articles for the Supreme Lord. Then Bhima also came, Bhima also hugged Lord Krishna. Then Arjuna tried to also offer obeisances, but then Krishna understood because he is equal, he is a friend. Then immediately took him onto his shoulders, they hugged each other again and again. Lord, especially Arjuna and Krishna is very close, and so that these are great samvad. Samvad means conversation at equal or as devotees, and Lord's relationship is samvad, transcendental exchanges. It is not vada, it is not vitanda, it is not prajalpa. So that's what is been and then how then he told, then Nakula and Sahadeva also offered the obeisance because they are anger. Then Krishna, Then Krishna instructed Yudhishthira Maharaj to perform these Rajasuya sacrifices. You are supposed to first rule to get in all directions. So then Yudhishthira Maharaj, understanding the desire of Krishna, then Yudhishthira Maharaj instructed his Sahadev to go and conquer in the southern direction. Then he instructed, was that I think Nakula to western direction. Then he told Arjuna to go to the northern direction to conquer. Then he told Bhima to go in the eastern direction, Madras. So that's where this Jarasandha is there. So then that's how. Then he went. Then Lord Krishna, Bhima, and then Arjuna, they all three went together to Jarasandha's place in a Brahmanas, disguised as Brahmanas. Then they begged charity. Then immediately Jarasandha, understanding, then Lord Krishna instructed. So as Brahmanas, this is Shastra is recommending that one who comes to beg charity, so for a king, for a Kshatriya especially, by giving charity, they gain immortal fame. Whatever they ask, Kshatriya is supposed to do that. And all the previous examples from Shastra, Lord Krishna is quoting C.B. Chakravarti and many others who has gained. Then Jarasandha was also thinking, yes, Bali Maharaj also did, he attained immortal fame. So I think I'm ready to give. Then he told Jarasandha, I'm ready to give, even if you ask me head, I'm ready to give my head also. But he knows, he also could understand that, because he could see the impressions on the right and left hand side of the chariot marks, bow, taking bows. There doesn't look like a Brahmana, looks like Kshatriyas. He could understand, but still to get the immortal fame, then he want to offer a charity. Then immediately told, yes, I'm ready to give charity. What can I offer? Then immediately Krishna told, we are not actually came to beg something. We came to duel with you, fight with you. Then Jarasandha told, you are not my equal. You act weirdly when I come to fight with you. You try to run away or hide. You hid yourself in the ocean when I came to fought with you. So I cannot fight with you. You are not my equal. Then he fought. Then Arjuna, he is not my equal. So I cannot fight with him. But Bhima is my equal, so I can fight with him. Then that's how Jarasandha fought with Bhima. Then almost 27 days he fought, but nobody could win. And every day night, then they used to be like friends in the night. Whole day, in the morning they used to fight, and then in the night they used to. In the night, Jarasandha used to, because they are the guests, so he used to offer everything, the food and various things. So then the 28th day, then Bhima told, I cannot win over Jarasandha, I cannot kill him. Then Krishna instructed, don't worry. Then he told, this happened when he's at the time of the birth. He was at the time of the birth he was separated as the two parts. He was born. Then Jara, demon Jara, in the forest, they took these two parts of his body and clubbed together. That's how Jarasandha was alive. So then he gave instruction how to kill him. Then Lord Krishna also transferred his power to Bhima. Otherwise Bhima cannot kill Jarasandha. Lord Krishna transferred his power into Bhima's body. Then he instructed, and then he took a small twig of a tree, and then he showed how to take out, break his body into two parts. Then Bhima pulled his legs, Jarasandha's legs, and threw him down. And then he put his feet on one of the leg, and then took the other hand of Jarasandha, and then pulled him, and then he broke exactly into half his body into two pieces, and then immediately he was killed. Then after that, but Lord fought with him to just release these imprisoned kings. There it mentioned Lord Krishna immediately summoned his son to come, Jarasandha's son. Then immediately his name is Sahadeva. Then immediately he instructed Sahadeva, you rule the kingdom, peacefully, rule the kingdom nicely. Then in that way we can see Lord Krishna want to make sure everybody is following the as per the Shastra rules and regulations. He didn't want to actually fight with Jarasandha, only to deliver the imprisoned kings. So, and then to establish Dharma. So that's why he enthroned again his own son. He didn't want that kingdom. He didn't want the popularity or anything. He acted as a matter of duty. And then in this way, we can see that Rajasuya sacrifice was done. And then Yudhishthira Maharaj wanted Agra Puja to be given to Lord Krishna. So, to show the whole world Supreme Lord Sri Krishna's position. So, that is the instruction from here. We see that couple of instructions how to consult with Sadhu and Shastra Guru, and by Lord Krishna's daily activities, how to get up in the morning and chant the holy name of the Lord. Slowly, it's a gradual progress. Slowly, we can start somewhere and then follow these instructions. Krishna, how we should perform charity, how we should charity and worship and offer our obeisances to elders and superiors. And in this way, automatically mercy flows. And then distributing different paraphernalia, the flowers, the garlands, sandalwood pulp, worshipping the brahmanas and elderly members. So in this way, we can see from Lord Krishna's example, and we also see the intelligence must be sharpened. Then we shouldn't be in doubt. Samsaya Atma, we should come from Samsaya Atma to Nischaya Atma, by the Utsaha Nischaya, and the Nischaya Dhairya Tat Karma Pravartana Sangatya Ago Suto Vritte Sadbhir Prasidyati. If we want to increase our bhakti, then we have to come to that Nischaya Atmika Buddhi. Only way it can be done by sharpening our intelligence, by hearing in the association of devotees. So that is what the instruction from this specific verse. Also, Lord, it is mentioned that Lord Yudhishthira Maharaj wants, is showing the heart of a preacher, heart of those who wants to distribute Krishna. Great devotee Yudhishthira Maharaj implores Lord Krishna here to demonstrate plainly the result of worshipping him and the result of not worshipping him. So if people of the world could understand that, they can begin to recognize Krishna as Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that everyone's ultimate self-interest is in surrendering him, as confirmed by the great acharyas. So we see that, and also we see that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's place also, how Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu already knows everything what's supposed to be done, but he acted in such a way that here it is explained in 10th canto 71th chapter verse number 13. Rupa Goswami is mentioning that how Lord is Chatura, is very clever, very intelligent. Lord wants to credit Uddhava of these solutions. That's why he asked, give the advice what's supposed to be done when this messenger came to deliver these 10,000, 20,000 imprisoned kings and their wives imprisoned by Jarasandha. But at the same time, Rajasuya sacrifice was supposed to be done, as Narada Muni instructed. Narada Muni told what Pandavas want to do. So both things simultaneously can be done by this advice of Uddhava. So Lord Krishna wants to glorify, he wants to credit always his devotees, credit Uddhava the solution. So it is mentioned, like Rupa Goswami is mentioning this. So we see that in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela also, Mahaprabhu instructed Ramananda Rai. He is taking instruction from Ramananda Rai, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Sarvabhauma Damodar Goswami. Then when Pradyumna Mishra came to ask, please give me instructions and explain the pastimes of the Lord, then he sent him to Ramananda Rai. Please take instruction from Ramananda Rai. Even myself, I take instruction from Ramananda Rai. So we see this throughout Chaitanya Charitamrita, how Mahaprabhu himself exhibited. He is showing by his own personal example how to be consult with others, how to receive instruction, how to study Shastra, Supatan Vicharana Paro. So in this way we should understand this verse, that Lord is not separated by past, present, future, because there is no time factor. He is the one who is the source of the time. Here relativity, time factor exists in the material world. In Vaikuntha there is no time factor. The time, Kala, Shakti has been created by the Lord at the time of the material creation. By that, these three modes of material nature starts cooking and reactions are coming in place. So then immediately these living entities are coming to enjoy entering into this material world. So Lord Krishna is the source of, but he is not bound with that. So there is no past, present, future, because he is always there. in the past, he is there in the present, he knows what's going to happen. So for him, there is no time factor. But for us, we have, because we cannot even remember what we did yesterday, we cannot remember last life what we did. So that's why Shastra is mentioning Parabhavastava Dabodajata Yavanna Jignas Atmatatno Karmatkam Ena Sirira Bandha. So because of this ignorance, thinking that this body is all in all, we are covered by this ignorance of this external energy, three modes of material nature. So, and we are trying to conquer, we are trying to enjoy, think that whatever pleasure I am getting in this material, this is all in all, this is permanent. But only way we can come out of this Pritanna yavat mai vasudevi deha yogena tavat namuchyata deha yogena. The only way we can be liberated is by developing love for Krishna, by keeping Krishna in the center of our day-to-day activities, by following Krishna's example, his own, how he is performing day-to-day activities in his own life. He is showing by his own example how we can slowly and gradually come to that will be the perfection of our life. So that's what this verse is telling, how to go from samshayatma to nischayatma, how to desire best of others, desire to pray to others, for others advancement, for others well-being. So not thinking about always self, about others in this way, and consult others, then come from samshayatma, doubtful nature, to the nischayatma, confidence, strong faith. Otherwise, Bhagavad Gita 9 chapter also it is mentioned, asraddha dhana purusha dharmasya parantapa aprapya mam nivartante mrityu samsara vartaman. Those who doesn't have faith in the Shastra and Sadhu and Guru and Supreme Lord Krishna, then he cannot understand Bhagavad Gita. Many people may read Bhagavad Gita, think that Krishna is a great personality, but they may try to preach, but without understanding, then they can never understand, they cannot put that into practice. So in their own life, the instructions of Bhagavad Gita, they can never understand Krishna's instruction if they don't accept what Krishna's position and Krishna's inside desire, inner mood of what Krishna is trying to tell us in Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam. So that is the main crux of this verse. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Bhakta ki jai.